That's so confusing.
That's me.
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to today's writing session. I should explain the format, right? So it's not just me talking. There's a lot of writing. I want everyone, here, let's stop this for just a second. I want everyone to kind of feel free, feel like this is a safe space, this is a creative space, this is your time to play and explore and not really judge what comes up. There's no sharing of any writing required. Sometimes people do put in the chat what like a summary of what they wrote, or they might copy paste it word for word, which is really cool, but you do not have to do that. This is your time, and writing creativity can be very precious. So do keep it secret, keep it safe. So I'll be sharing some different prompts for the first hour. So you'll have completely guided writing for the first hour. And then in the last half hour, you can kind of work on whatever you like. So maybe you want to bring in a project that you have ongoing and you want to just kind of plug away at that in the last half hour. Or if you don't have something, or you want to try creating something new, there'll be some other prompts to go along with that. So you will never just be left on your own, just like, right now, about what? Well, we'll help you with that. But please talk to me in the chat. So I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat. I would love to know what you're working on, if anything, what kind of writing experience you have, if anything. If this is your first time to the group or you've been with us before. So yeah, feel free to let us know who you are and where you are. That can also be interesting too. So yeah, we've been running this group for gosh, has it been over a year now? It's been a little while, and we meet sporadically, but we do tend to have a very fruitful creative session. So what today is about is just getting you writing. And we've got a lot of really, I think, lovely prompts, fun prompts to just get your pen moving, your fingers typing. It would also be good to know if people do want to share what kind of writing they do. So I'm mostly fiction, but if you any sort of writer is more than welcome here, and I think that our prompts can probably be applied to most mediums. I also write scripts as well. So the theme for today is writing from the senses. It seems so fundamental, the senses, but I don't know about you guys. I often kind of feel like I forget about them. And maybe this is just me being too much in practice as a scriptwriter, where it's very dialogue and action based. But I sometimes forget to include senses in my writing, and they're very important for a couple of different reasons. May seem kind of obvious, but just to get us started. Basically, adding sensory details to our writing helps it to feel alive and real. We live in a sensory world, you may not be always aware of it, but you are sensing constantly. And that's how we know we are alive. So if you want your writing to feel alive, immediate, adding those sensory details really helps to lift that up and to kind of suck your reader into your character's POV. And senses can also help us communicate important information about our characters. And I did want to just kind of highlight this, that writing from the senses doesn't mean just throwing a lot of detail into your writing for no reason. When we're doing this in the best way, in the most effective way, we're using the senses to communicate something about what we are writing. So that we might use the senses to explore how our character feels, what they're thinking about. Because as I mentioned, we're sensing all the time, but we're not always aware of it. So depending on our mood, we might be sensing different things, if you get my drift. So we'll be playing with that a little bit later. And I just wanted to share this quote from this amazing book that I wanted to recommend, called A Natural History of the Senses. It's basically a celebration of the five senses. It's really beautifully written. So if you are interested in exploring sensory writing, sensual writing, or just like reading more and learning more about your senses, it's a really great book. So this is from the intro by Diane Ackerman. There's no way in which to understand the world without first detecting it through the radar net of our senses. So again, just that's why senses are so important in our writing. So this is our little warm-up. The first thing, let's just kind of get in touch with our senses and what we're sensing now. So just to remind everyone what the 5 senses are, in case you forget, we're talking about sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. So take a moment in your journal, if you have one, on your computer, if that's how you're writing, and just list what you're sensing right now. I say try to list at least 3 things for each sense. You may struggle to find 3 for taste, for example, but try your best. You might be surprised. And yeah, I'll let you just kind of explore that for about 3 minutes, we'll say. It'll be really quick. So just 3 minutes, writing whatever comes to you. Be as descriptive as you can. So don't just say bread, if that's what you smell. Go a little bit further and deeper with it if you can. Okay, so 3 minutes on that. Okay, so that's our timer gone off. So come back to the group. Hopefully you were able to get all 5 senses, but if not, it's okay. This is just our warm-up and get us used to thinking about the senses and considering how we might communicate what that's like. So I was just reading what everyone was saying in the chat, and we have a quite diverse writing group here. It's amazing. And a lot of people said that they're writing a novel, their first novel. So that's really, really cool. And yeah, happy to have you all here. Okay, moving on. Now that we've kind of warmed up and gotten in our bodies, right? Because senses are very physical. You have to be in your body to experience them. Now we're going to take a little journey into the past. So I'll give you a little bit more time to work on this one. I'll say maybe 6 or 7 minutes. Basically, just cast your mind back into your life and think of a memory you have that was very vivid and sensory. So this might be from your childhood. It could be from very recently. Maybe you had a very sensory experience about a week ago. So whatever memory you choose, just kind of explore it. So where were you? Describe where you were. How old were you? What was going on? And which senses stand out? Try to get all 5 if you can. And maybe if you can't remember all 5, then you can fill in the blanks with the rest. Maybe use some creative license here. And just as a reminder, when we are doing these exercises, we like to do them as a free writing exercise. And that means not really stopping yourself and just letting your hand move. So when we're writing, sometimes our censor, our judge can pop in and stop things from happening. Just tell them to take the afternoon off. You don't need them. And just let the words happen. If you do get stuck, then maybe just you can always go back and read what you have done. Or another tactic is to just rewrite the last sentence that you wrote before you got stuck. But do just try to keep your pen moving, keep your hands moving, and see what comes, okay? So we're not trying to do anything, we're kind of allowing it, which is a different experience. So about 6-7 minutes exploring this, and then we'll move on to some longer writing. Okay, that's our time up for that exercise. So just kind of wrap up the sentence that you're on. So as with any exercise that we do today, you can always come back to this. So if you found that there was a memory for you that was really exciting or you were interested to explore it further, then definitely come back to it. What I tend to find what excites me the most is kind of what wants to be written, if that makes sense. So yeah, put it aside for now, but do come back to it if it was something that you were enjoying. And as I said before, this isn't required. Nobody needs to share anything, but if you do want to let us know in the chat about the memory you chose, please feel free to do so. It'd be really kind of cool to see, but yeah, not required. So the next thing we're going to do is a series of sort of rapid fire 5-minute exercises. So let me explain. So there's this really cool series of paintings called The Five Senses, which I just found out about. I don't know how I didn't know about these. They're very, very cool. If you're into art or art history, you probably know about them, and I'm silly for not knowing about them. But basically it's 5 paintings, each of them created to evoke a sense. And we're going to spend 5 minutes with each of them. So that'll be at roughly 25 minutes, taking us up almost to the last half hour. And this is going to be a challenge because I want you to describe each painting using the senses, but not using the one that it's named after, okay? So the painting that's, for example, sight, okay? You can describe how it smells, what you hear, what you taste, but you cannot describe what you see. So just avoid that. I hope that makes sense. So we're for each of them we're using all senses except for the one that it's based on. Okay? So let me get my timer up because this will be we want to move through them fairly quickly. So 5 minutes on each one. I've said use the point of view of someone in the painting. If that's not helpful to you, then don't. Maybe you want to kind of step into the painting, imagine that you are there looking at these people, or you can write from their perspective. So I'll leave it up to you, whatever kind of feels best. So the first one we're going to do is hearing. Okay, so you can see there's like musical instruments, there's birds maybe singing, all sorts of things that you can hear. So describe this painting using all of your senses except for hearing, and your 5 minutes will start now. Okay, that's 5 minutes. So finish the sentence that you're on. And there was a question in the chat that I wanted to address before we move on to the next one. Hang on, let me pull it back up. So yeah, somebody mentioned that they find that one of the most difficult to write about senses is taste. So any tips or sharing on this? So if you have thoughts on this, let us know in the chat. I was just having a few thoughts myself because taste, we are a bit limited to like our receptors only sense like salt, bitter, sweet, sour, something else, umami. But that's not it's not good writing to just use those 4 or 5 words. So I suppose when I'm writing about taste, I'm often using simile and metaphor, so comparing it to something else. So it tasted like this looks. So I don't know, maybe a glass of orange juice tastes like the golden colored sun coming down on a summer's day or something like that. You get a little bit poetic. Also, you might then also bring in other senses too to play with that. So smell and feel. So the texture in your mouth, how something feels. So I think those are just hopefully a few thoughts to get you started. But let us know if you have any thoughts of your own on that. And the other thing I did want to quickly mention is that these painting exercises, because we're doing 4 more, it doesn't need to just be like a boring list exercise listing senses. So if I didn't make that clear, you can also use these as a chance to explore some narrative, maybe start building a character. These 2 people come back, so they're in each of the paintings, so you can kind of build on them as characters if you want to. You can bring in other characters, people who walk into the space, maybe something magical or weird happens. So don't just be restricted to the senses now. It's just that I want you to focus on them in the writing. Yeah? So it can be about other things happening, but the emphasis is on the senses. So, okay. Moving on to the next painting. Okay, so here we've got smell, and you can write about it using any of the senses except no smell. So it's going to be a stretch of the imagination, but it's doable. So, there's all these flowers. How do they feel? Do they make a sound? You can use sight here as well, so visual descriptions, etc. So, yeah, another 5 minutes on that one, and then we'll move on. Okay, 5 minutes is up again, so finish your sentence. Okay, moving on to the next one. Here's the one on taste. So, using any and all of the senses except for taste. Some interesting characters going on in this one. And some fun animals you could, you could use their POV if you wanted to. So have fun. I just want to keep emphasizing that this is meant to be playful and not a slog. So if you get bored or you're tired of writing about the senses, just, let your creativity tell you whatever it wants to come next. But we're using these images as kind of our jumping off point. And I encourage you to practice these and write about the senses, but I understand if you do want to do something else. But whatever you're going to work on now, you have 5 minutes. Okay. I think that's two more, isn't it? So let's just truck on. So next is touch, which I think is it's a really interesting choice for touch, isn't it? Because you can feel that cold armor just by looking at it. But we're going to write about this using all of our senses except for touch. So 5 minutes on this one. Okay, 5 minutes is up. So wrap up the sentence that you're on, and then we've got one more, haven't we? Yes. So I saved this one for last because I suspected it might be the more challenging one to describe this scene using all your senses except for sight. So nothing of what you can see, but everything else goes. So 5 minutes is our last painting, and then we'll have a few more guided exercises to do. Okay, time up on that one. So do finish the sentence that you're on. So let me know in the chat how that went. It'd be interesting to know which ones you found maybe more difficult to write about, which ones came more easily. And if anybody does want to share a little bit of what they wrote, please feel free to put it in the chat. It's always really interesting to see what came up. Now, I know I said we would have 30 minutes at the end of free writing, but I think that's going to be more like 20 because I think it's really important. Oh, I did want to finish on these last two because this is kind of, it ties into what I was saying earlier about how writing with the senses can inform the story and our characters emotionally. So these are, it's just two short exercises exploring the relationship between the senses and our emotions. So step one, there's two steps. Step one is to write something from this woman's point of view, imagining that she's in a very good mood. Okay, so first you want to just think of why is she in a good mood? Did something happen? Or maybe it's just a beautiful day. Well, it is raining. Maybe she likes the rain. I don't know. And while she's in that mood, what senses does she experience? And how does she feel about what she's sensing? All right. So how much time do I want to give you? I'll just do 4 minutes on this one, and then it'll be another 4 on part 2. Okay? So, and then there'll be the free writing time afterwards. Okay? So yeah, 4 minutes starting now. Okay, 4 minutes is up, so finish the sentence you're on. And now this is the last guided exercise, and then we'll move into some free writing, also guided if you want. And it's your job is basically to write this again. So forget what you just wrote, and now you're going to write a new passage from this woman's point of view, imagining that she's in a very bad mood. So why is she in this bad mood? Again, what senses does she experience, and then how does she feel about what she is sensing? Okay, so 4 minutes there, and then we'll move on to the final section. Okay, that's time up. So, yeah, again, I would love to hear how this was. If anybody wants to share in the chat, maybe did they notice any difference in the character's emotion and how that meant that they wrote about the senses? So do let us know what your experience was with these exercises. And then we've got just almost 25 minutes, more like 20-ish to do our final free writing section. So this is, as I said at the start, you can write about anything that you like. The idea behind these sessions is that this first hour of guidance gets you kind of loose, and you might find it easier to then buckle down and do something that you are working on currently. But of course, if you don't want to do that, we've got some other prompts that you can use here. I'm going to leave them on the screen. You can do one of them, you can do all of them, anything that you want to write now. And then we'll just kind of reconvene for the last 5 or so minutes to chat if anybody wants to say anything or ask questions, and then we'll be on our merry way. So yeah, enjoy. I hope you guys liked this. We do this, as I said, somewhat sporadically. But yeah, if you are in the meetup group, we'll always, you get the notifications so when we're doing the next ones. And there's also a YouTube channel, which I'll share the name of at the very end. And we'll be uploading this to YouTube if you want to ever do it again. And there's also all of the ones we've done in the past on the YouTube channel. So you'll never run out of things to write about. So, okay, enjoy, and I'll speak to you in about 20-ish minutes. Okay, just so people know, we'll be wrapping up in about a minute. I've just left on the screen information about our next session. If you want to take a look, I'll explain a little bit too before we say goodbye. But yeah, maybe start wrapping up what you've been doing. Share any writing now if you wish in the chat. And yeah, we got about 1 more minute. Okay, so let's all come back and wrap things up here. Oh no, there I go again. It really doesn't want me to tell you about this event. So our next event is going to be in February, and this is not a free writing, like these little inspiration sessions that we do. This is going to be a dedicated workshop about how to be a better writer. So in these sessions, we don't really worry too much about that. We just want to come up with ideas and play and have fun. But this workshop is going to be about how to, be the best writer that you can. So we'll be going through some very important basics like word choice and structuring a sentence and how to craft a really good paragraph and writing good dialogue and all these little functional bits that are essential to good writing. So we'll be doing that on February 23rd. That's only through Meetup. It's not going to be posted to YouTube later because we're charging a small amount for it because it's very planning heavy for me to put this together for you guys. But I think it's going to be a really, really useful session. And, if you do want to start becoming more serious about your writing, this is a really good one for you. So with that said, we'll stop our show. Oh, the social links and stuff are on the bottom. I'm not active at all on social media, so sorry. But the YouTube there is right in the middle, and that's where you'll find all of our old stuff. So if you liked this, then there is plenty more where this came from. We have all of our previous sessions on there. There's a few other sessions that we recorded just for YouTube, so they weren't part of Meetup, and you wouldn't have attended them live. And other just quick videos about writing advice and that sort of thing. So this is my passion. I really enjoy this. I'm so happy that so many of you guys came today, and I hope that you found it useful. So okay, here we go. You're now allowed to unmute if anybody wants to say anything or ask any questions. Looking at chats if I missed. Oh. So I think that's a question about the socials, isn't it? What is the mug? That is our Ko-fi account. So I think that's spelled like Kofi. That's where you can basically buy us a coffee. So if you did like this, if you found that it was of value, then you can chuck a little bit of money our way and help us keep the group going. Of course, that's not a requirement. We're doing this because we really enjoy it, but if you do want to say thank you, that's a way to do it. All right, any other questions from people? A few people saying they'll come along in February. That's great. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you there. Sorry, just checking Messages coming in. If you do have any questions that I didn't get a chance to answer, you can message me on Meetup. I said I'm not active in social media. I'm very active on Meetup. I check it, maybe not every day, but I check it frequently. So if you do have a question or just want to chat to another writer, drop me a message. Okay. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Hope I can see you again sometime, and good luck with all the writing, and enjoy the rest of your year as well, and wishing you all lots of creativity and productivity in 2025. So thank you all for coming.